Welcome to the Rainmaker Multiplier on Demand, a podcast for leading financial professionals, or rainmakers, and their teams that offer support for securing a successful future. From marketing help to staffing structure, listen and subscribe for actionable insights from advisors and skilled professionals alike.
Hello, I'm Matt Seitz, Chief Marketing Officer at C2P. We're continuing our conversation today with Jason Smith, author of the new book, The Rainmaker Multiplier. In today's episode, we dive into the story behind one of the most impactful concepts in financial planning, the bucket plan. Jason shares how a simple client meeting with Glenn and Judy led to the breakthrough moment that led to his philosophy, transforming his approach from a compartmentalized financial planning to a holistic wealth management process. As we like to say around here, we didn't invent bucket planning, but we did write the book on it. We hope you enjoy. Yep, that proof of concept, which we'll talk about that later too. But next in the book, we kind of get into your unique process. And we know that the bucket plan, where it started with the original book. But in there, you tell the story. I think it'd be good to share of the client you were meeting with when you came up with the name, the bucket plan. Can you share that story?
Yeah. So Glenn and Judy, right? That's who it was. And we were in the conference room, and it started. A funny thing is, I'll go all the way back to the beginning, and I'm talking 25 plus years ago, because I entered this business in 1995, and it's hard to believe that's 2025, 30 years, man. And you can see the gray hair and the beard, right? No, but the thing is very early on, I had learned this concept actually from my oldest brother. And I learned the concept where he had taught me, where it was like he had these two laminated sheets. And as he would talk to people, he'd take a sticky note and he would be like talking about what the purpose of the money was. Like, was it money they were going to use during their lifetime, or was it money like they were going to plan on passing on? And he would go, like, we would write, and he taught me how to take each account, write them on a sticky note, everything they had, and then they would place it. You put the two laminated sheets in front of them, and it would be like income for lifetime, and then it would be more like legacy planning for passing on, or something like that.
Yeah.
He had written on the top. But the idea is like writing each account and then putting the sticky note on each one and compartmentalizing the money into really the two different, not buckets, but two different whatever, like categories, right? And that was kind of the first time, like almost like the concept of time segmentation,
Right.
and allocating your money based on the purpose and the time horizon of when you would need access to it. And that was more of like how we were selling life insurance, right? It was like life insurance versus investments and annuities and money in the bank that you're going to earn during your lifetime. And then as time evolved, I kind of like added a third component. And then I started it was still three laminated sheets for a while. And it was now, soon, and later is what I put at the top. Still did the sticky notes, still meeting people in their house. And it was like more of like the now bucket was the money in the bank, safe and liquid, money, emergency fund, planned expenses. Let's make sure we got all that taken care of, because now they're going to make better decisions and more confident decisions on the rest of their money once they have that now established. So the rest of the money is the soon and the later. The soon money is for income or withdrawals, kind of like the old concept. And the later bucket was for long-term growth and legacy planning. And so like having these three and doing the sticky note process, then what it evolved into with Glenn and Judy, which now fast forward where I flipped to having everybody come into the office, right?
Okay.
And I got inspired at a top of the table MDRT event to buy an old historical home because I saw this guy do it and renovate it into an office. So I'm in this historical home that my wife and I and clients and friends and family, my cousin Jimbo, we did the drywall and all this stuff, renovated it into an office. We have a big dry erase board on there. Actually, it's called a Pana board, where you could print whatever was up on the board. like super cool technology way back then. And anyways, I'm up there, and at this time, still using now, soon, and later, still boxes drawn, right? And now I'm just drawing the accounts in each one. And after we do an asset inventory of everything and I understand what they have, I would then take them through the process of like talking through how much would go in the now bucket, how much in the soon bucket, how much in the later bucket, right? So I'm doing this with Glenn and Judy. And then I got to the point where I would total each of the boxes at the top, right? And for whatever that reason, that day we went through, we got all the accounts in there, and we talked through how much to be in the now, how much in the soon for income withdrawals, how much in the later. And then ultimately I wrote the balances at the top. And for the first time ever, I circled each of the 3 boxes at the top. And Glenn looks at me and he's like, "Hey, Jason, those look like buckets." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, they do." And he's like, "You know what? I've always had a bucket list, but I've never had a bucket plan." I'm like, "No way." Boom. Yeah, exactly. So I go home, I tell my wife about it, and she starts working on and Jennifer, who was my assistant at the time, is a partner now at C2P. They go and figure out how to get the trademark for it.
Yeah.
And that's how the bucket plan was born. Funny thing is like I was doing this whole holistic wealth management process around this concept of bucketing, but it was boxes back then.
Yeah.
And back then I had called it Clarity to Prosperity. My first book I wrote was Clarity to Prosperity, an advisor's guide to charging planning fees. And it was talking about the whole process of the bucket plan. But that's when we flipped and we changed it to be called the bucket plan. And then the company's name, of course, is Clarity to Prosperity.
Right. Such a fun story. And
Yeah.
and it allows us to tell a story of you didn't invent bucket planning. That's been around
Yeah.
for years. But you did write the book on it.
You know what's funny, Matt? Harold Levinsky, I always want to give him really credit because he's the godfather of bucketing.
Yeah.
I had never known anything about him. I wasn't doing bucketing. I was doing boxing. I don't know, like boxes. But there's even like an envelope theory and like this stuff's been around forever, man. I mean, even like he was the first around bucketing. He's a professor and financial advisor out of Texas Tech. And but like even this envelope concept, man, grandmothers were doing that like 400 years ago, I think, like putting money in envelopes, like time segmentation, setting goals. So that's kind of been around. But Harold Levinsky, I believe, was the first around bucketing. And you're right, bucketing has been around forever. And we always say this. And the difference is we built a holistic wealth management process around the concept of bucketing, right? And that's really what the bucket plan is.
Yeah.
And what makes it different and special.
Right. And so like can you talk about that? How did it help take it from like insurance sales to holistic wealth management?
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately, I know for me, a little bit of it all the way back went back to my dad bringing all these professionals to the dinner table. It's what I knew how to do. I knew that was in the best interest is to talk to people about all those things, right? And so and try to coordinate and make sure all those professionals are and so at a very early age and early on, I was doing what we call today holistic wealth management. I was doing the insurance part. I was bringing in the CPA, the attorney, the investment professional, coordinating it all into a comprehensive plan, making sure no balls get dropped, taxes don't get messed up, and unnecessary fees don't get paid. Things aren't connected, trusts aren't left unfunded because the attorney drew it up, but then the assets didn't get all transitioned in and beneficiaries updated. So many things that are important around holistic wealth management is really what I was doing at a very early age. And then as time progressed, it became time to bring it all under one roof.
Thank you for watching and listening today. If you'd like to dive into Jason's book yourself, you can order your copy at c2pe.info/order RMM book. We'll have this link in the description below or wherever you're watching or listening today. Don't forget, the book also has an accompanying toolkit that gives you bonus chapters, templates, and more. So be sure to get your copy today. In our next episode, we discuss the importance of developing and empowering the right people to effectively build a thriving financial practice. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in. This podcast was brought to you by C2P, an organization whose purpose is to educate, train, grow, and support holistic financial advisors so families can achieve true prosperity. Never miss an episode by subscribing now to discover new resources and strategies. Visit c2penterprises.com to learn how we can help scale and secure your business.